Hello, good afternoon already, isn't it? So glad to be here. And what Jussara said is exactly the way I felt. Obrigado, Jussara. We just met a couple days ago in Orlando. Didn't know her. I met João a few days earlier here in this Centro Espírita. And it's just like if we knew each other for long. And once I met the people in Orlando as well, from all over the country, it's the same feeling. It's amazing how the people welcome you so much. So it's a great honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope you can benefit a bit from this speech. Let's go and see if it works this way. Yeah. It all started. Can I have the book for a second? Thank you. It all started in the year 2000. I have a friend, actually, and she used to work with me. She's a journalist, and her son, her 18-year-old son, died in a car crash when he was, how do you say, comemorando? How do you say? Celebrating, right. He just passed the examinations for college, vestibular. Had a car crash and died. So obviously she was really shocked. She was really sad. It was a huge surprise, and I saw how much she suffered. Then that time, on his mass, I thought about writing a book that would help people who are not Spiritists to understand a little bit about it and perhaps help them to feel a bit better, not to be so difficult. And I started writing the book. It was awful, it was horrible. I tried to do like the Book of Spirits, questions and answers. It was a total mess. Then I gave up. Then a little bit later, in the year 2012, I called a friend and talked to his wife. He's in his second marriage. And she told me, oh, you called it the proper time. You know what happened? The first wife of my friend just passed away. And it was a fairly shocking way of passing away as well. And they had a child. She was 14 at that time. Her name is Maria. And I told them, they're not Spiritists. I told them, well, if you want to bring Maria, I can talk to her and try to explain to her how Spiritism sees death, hoping that would help her to understand what was going on. And so they did. And I talked to Maria for about 40 minutes or so, basic questions that a 14-year-old girl had about death. Then I said, now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a book as if I was talking to a 14-year-old girl, Maria, which did happen, but I expanded the questions to a more broad perspective, imagining what people would like to learn about death. And so in December, between Christmas and New Year's Eve, in 2 weeks, I wrote this, A Morte na Visão do Espiritismo. Thank you. Which, as Jussara said, I would be so honored if we published it in English, and perhaps we'll do it through the federation here, right? And the book is doing really well in Brazil. It sold more than 60,000 copies, which is good for Brazil. Anything that sells more than 5,000 is considered good. I had a little help from a person named Ana Maria Braga, which was good. They invited me to go over there. Once you go to TV, things boom. No? But basically, it's a book that talks about death. I would like to ask you a question. Who is afraid of dying here? Very few people honest in the room. Right, cool. We're fairly afraid of dying, right? But not really. Spiritists should not be. But we're all a bit afraid of dying. That's the main thing about the book. And you're going to see a lot of quotations like this one from people that are not Spiritists, but I think they say something that does mean something. Again, they're not Spiritists. See how much that's linked to our belief. Francis Bacon says, humans are afraid of dying for the same reason children are afraid of the dark, because they don't know what is it all about. So if we're afraid, or if you want to explain to people, let's study death. Let's talk about that. Talk to your children about it. Talk to your husband, your wife, your parents, the old person, the elderly on your family. Because it's going to happen. It did happen again. It's going to happen once again. Is this obvious or not? Yeah. It is quite obvious, but we don't want to see it. We don't want to say it. And you Brazilians know we go like this. Right? Knock 3 times at the wood, right? The wood. No? Because we just want to ignore it. It's not going to happen to me. Publius Sirius says, life is not given, but lent to us. We keep forgetting that. It's not. It depends how you understand life, right? Life is with you forever, but your body is not. Your body is going to die. And your body is going to stay here. And we must remember that in order not to be so surprised when it happens again. We are like food. We have shelf life, right? We all have a certain time we're going to live here. Maybe it's 85, maybe it's 93, maybe it's 17, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 5 months. We have to have that in mind as well. Seneca, my loved philosopher, I love everything from Seneca. He says, among other beautiful things, he says, we all make the same mistake. We think that only the old and the sick are going to die. Not necessarily, right? Maybe the healthy ones will die before the ill ones. Maybe the younger ones will die before the old ones, which is quite common. Again, have this in mind. So once it happens, if it does happen to your child or to someone that's younger and healthier, you understand that's okay, that's part of life. But what happens if we die right now, right here? Are we prepared for dying right now? Are you prepared for dying now, this moment? Yes, no, some people are. I have news for you. You know, this thing of Spiritism and being a medium, I felt something come here on the metro, and Spirits told me to tell you that there is a comet coming to Earth. It's going to hit us, and it's going to be a big disaster. And I asked them, well, can we, put on some place where there's not much people won't suffer much? They agreed, and we're sending it to an island. Oh, wow. This is where it's going to hit. So, but don't worry, it's 12:10. We have a few more minutes. We have 36 minutes. Would you like to call your family? Would you like to say you love your children? Obviously, I hope this is a joke, right? But it could happen, couldn't it? We could have a disaster here. You had September 11 happening. Anything can happen. We have to be prepared for that. So what's the tip here? Talk to the people you love. Try to solve your problems while you're here still. Or if you don't solve the problem, what's the problem? No problem at all. You're going to have another chance and another chance and another chance. It doesn't matter. But it's better for you and for the people around you that you do that now, that you prepared before you go. Again. 3 questions in 30 seconds, if you might. Just think about the answers to yourself. First one is, if you were to die now, what's there still to do? Are there many things left you didn't do? Important things. Like, I don't know, buying a shoe, for example. We're joking, but there's a book from an Australian writer, and she says, she deals with people who are just about to die. She says, no one regrets not having bought a nicer car or a bigger house. People regret they didn't talk to their brothers that they had a fight with. They didn't say they loved someone else. They didn't forgive someone, or they didn't ask for forgiveness from someone. Second question, if you were to die now, what would you regret? There's still time. Perhaps you can change this. Think about it. Third question, last question. If you were to die now, how would you evaluate your life? Is it worth? Have you done what you're supposed to do? Are you happy with the results you have achieved? And we're not talking here about money. We're not talking about career. We're talking about something much deeper, much more significant, which is your life with yourself first and with the people around you. Are you happy with yourself? Are you working on that? Are you happy with the way you deal with your family, friends, people at work? That's what we're talking about here. Chico Xavier, you have heard about this guy. He says, I would like to advise you to live as someone who knows that's going to die one day. And that you die as someone that knew how to live properly. Very brilliant, isn't it? It's spectacular. Dying is part of life, as we know. What is dying? Nothing. It's just a change of clothes. Imagine if you live in a house, and the house is old, and there's plenty of leaks, and you really have to rebuild the whole thing. Then you're a child. The house you were born in, you love the house. It's part of your childhood, right? Then your parents say, we're going to move from here. You feel sad, you feel sorry, but you move to a new house, beautiful, everything works well, it's nice, and there's plenty of sunshine. That's what happens. You die, you leave your old house, you leave your body, which is no good anymore, and you pick up a new one to start it again. And to do everything again. That's the only thing about death, nothing else. How can we die suddenly if from our birth we carry death with us for our entire life? That's Francisco Quevedo. It should be no surprise. We all know we're going to die since we were born. Question for you. You're all spirits, so you know. How many lives do we have? 1 or more lives? You're all very smart. Normally people say we have many lives. No, we have 1 life. We were created by God some time ago. Who knows when? And we keep living. We have 1 single life. Oh, and many experiences, many reincarnations, right? Each reincarnation, you learn a bit more about something. Sometimes you are born as a man, sometimes as a woman, woman, man, woman, to learn how is to be a man, how is to be a woman. Sometimes you're born rich, sometimes you're born poor. In a huge, spectacular, cosmopolitan area like New York, or sometimes in a very tiny town in Africa, say. Huh? Sometimes you're born with disability, sometimes you're born as healthy as the best sportist in the world. To learn everything, every time. To be born, to die, to reborn, and to forever progress. Such is the law. For my surprise, I saw somewhere that this is good, but it's written in Kardec's, como é que fala, túmulo? Graveyard? Stump. Right? So this is what it's all about. We're progressing forever. Reincarnation, why do we reincarnate? You all know that. We reincarnate for progressing, for going forward. That should be our aim all the time. Francisco de Vito says, happy and wise you will be if death, when it comes to you, cannot take anything but your life. It's a spectacular piece of writing, right? You're fine, everything is okay, you're happy with yourself. Have you progressed a lot? Well, maybe not a lot, but you did some progress, and you're happy with what you did. You're in a good, harmonic life with people around you. That's the best way of dying. You're ready to die, no problem. My mom, I was just telling someone here, my mom is 93. My father passed away 2 years ago at 97. And she keeps saying to me and to Fatima, oh, it's my time to go. She's a really positive person. She's really optimistic. Everything is all right. She doesn't walk anymore. And she says, oh, it's about time for me to go. Well, but God decides that whenever He wants me to go, I will. But it's time. She's ready to die because she's okay. She's not sad or anything like that. She takes death as a normal thing. And she's not a spiritist. Evolution. Why, how, and which aspects? Why do we have to evolve? Because it's good for us. I think that the difference between a very happy person and an unhappy person, a person that has a life that's more harmonic, or a very unharmonic, if that word exists, life, is that because this one has evolved more than the other one. Problems will never end. Problems will come again. But this person knows how to deal in a better way with problems. So that's why we should evolve, because it's better for us. God is so fair that you take care of yourself. If you evolve, life is going to be better. If you don't, you're going to suffer a bit more. It's not punishment. It's just learning, so you can learn and move. How to go on? How to evolve? Paying attention to everything around you. Pay attention to yourself. Trying to do whatever you can, whatever you want, to yourself, among others, to become a better person. We all know that. Even the worst person on earth knows that. In which aspects? It's up to you. What I have to change in some things, you have to change in other things. Each one of us have different scale of things to change. So you choose the ones you want to. Start by the most simple ones, the easier ones. Ovidio says, everything on us is mortal, but the goods produced by our spirit and our intelligence. If everything is mortal, if you leave your car, if you leave your house, if you leave your beauty, if you leave everything, why pay so much attention to that? You should pay attention to your house, to your money, to your work. Fine, no problem. You should buy whatever you want, okay. But the only things you're going to take with you are things you produce on your spirit or your intelligence, right? You progress, you take that with you. Remember when Frank Sinatra died, they buried him with Jack Daniels bottle because he loved Jack Daniels, right? Silly, I mean, it's funny, but I mean, he won't use it. I hope he doesn't use it, right? But what you take is what you are, right? So you should pay attention to that. That's inner reform, as we all know, as spiritists know. What that means, take your things and start to work inside of you, with yourself. It's a personal thing. It's not your husband, it's not your wife, it's not your mother, your father, your children, it's yourself. Say it again. Nothing is less honorable that an old person that has no other evidence of having lived much except to their age. What a pity if when we come to die, say we are 85, and you look back to your life and said, well, it was okay. It was not spectacular. Did you do much? Well, not really much because I was working so hard. Did you love your people? Oh, I had so much to do. We should pay attention to our life. Hopefully when we die, we say, well, it was good. It was fairly good. I'm quite happy with what I did. It's up to you again. Richard Bach. That's a very funny one. Here is a test to know if your mission on earth has come to an end. If you're still alive, it hasn't. So we all here, we all have plenty to do yet. What do you have to do? Move on. Speed up. You never know how many more years you have, or months, or weeks, or hours, or seconds, right? Some questions on death. What happens in the moment we die? We spirits know it goes like this, right? The body is over there, and the spirit goes up. Starts from the feet up to the head. It's like, I imagine like a shoe, like a tennis shoes. This is your body. It's kind of old, kind of weird. Maybe you're not too old, but it's still not too good. And then you start opening the laces, like you do with your tennis shoes. You have to open the laces to take your feet out, or your foot out, right? I imagine it's more or less the same thing. You have to open up to go out. Right? Because this is energy. It's holding the body to the spirit. Why some people say they see spirits just before dying? Have you heard about it? Do you know someone who have already, your mother-in-law, your grandmother, someone, or maybe a young person that's dying, normally says, oh, I'm talking to grandma, I'm talking to papa, I'm talking to someone else. They're seeing people around them. Are they really? They are. Because these spirits come to host you on this passage, right? On this transfer to the other side. On the book, I say something. Fatima's mother, Dona Ica, from Minas Gerais, I love my mother-in-law. She was spectacular. Very spectacular person. Very funny, very good. She was already kind of sick. She was 83, 84, so. And I was coming to, as a matter of fact, I was coming to New York. I was going to travel here. I went to say goodbye to her, and I said, well, she's fairly sick. Maybe I won't see her when she comes back. She left, she was alive for 1 more year or so. But when I went to talk to her, Fatima was sitting on her bed, and she was like this looking up and really smiling, really happy. And when I entered to say goodbye, say something, she said, Alexandre, I was saying Portuguese, right? Alexandre, seus amigos são bom mesmo. In other words, hey Alex, your friends are really good people. She was seeing my friends. I have no idea, no clue who they are. But she was seeing someone. And probably said, don't worry, everything's fine. We're good pals with Alexandre. We're a friend of yours as well. Come on, you're okay. And a year later or so, she passed away. But for me, that was, Fatima and I were like this, the two of us. And I was very surprised, very surprised. This is what happened. The person was just about to die. Incarnated people, non-incarnated spirits, hosted this person to say, everything is okay, calm down, no problem. Do we suffer when we die? What do you think? Do we or don't we? Best answer, tip for you. If you don't know how to answer something when you talk about spiritism, just say, it depends. That's the best answer. It's responded already, right? It does depend. It depends on what? It depends on you. Do you remember this movie? That's that. All Brazilians love it. Ghost. Right? What happened when he dies, and then when he solves all his problems, what happened to him? A very beautiful blue light appears, and the angels sing, wah, and he goes away happily, and everything's fine. What happened to the other guy, the criminal? Same thing? Oh, very dark thing comes from the, como é que fala esgoto? From the sword, go pick up him, oh, it's awful. Of course, this is Hollywood, but it's more or less that. You're going to have people waiting for you, depending on what you are, what you do, right? It's fair, it's just fair, right? So maybe you will suffer, maybe you'll not suffer. Let's prepare not to suffer. Let's not be attached to things. Let's have a good relationship with everyone else. Let's force people to love us through loving people as well. When death comes, it's not our tenderness we regret, it's our severity. Ooh, that's tough, huh? We are severe to our children, we're severe to our employees, we're severe to everyone else. Maybe we should rethink this. You can be really serious without being tough, without being unpolite. Attachment is something really difficult. Someone said about attachment the other time I was speaking here. It keeps you down. It's just like an anchor to hold you here. Attachment to what? To everything. If you're attached to your car, to your house, to your money, to your beauty, to your husband, to your wife, to your children, even love attaches us down here. Imagine if you have younger children and you die, and you're not going to leave the children, because you say, no, they're too young, I have to take care of them. That's love, but it's attachment as well. Understand that you are a spirit, and your children and everyone else are spirits as well. They have to live their life. Someone else is going to take care of them. That's part of their learning process. It's tough, but that's the way we should understand things. Jules Petitsen says, death undresses us from our possessions and dresses us up with our work. Forget your possessions. I mean, that's not valuable in the spiritual world. What should we do? What do we spirits do? Do we bury the person? Do we cremate the body? How do we do? It depends. That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. Depends on your choice, whatever you want. It doesn't matter, right? You're not going to use the body again. The body's going to become earth again. It's going to become something else, right? But what should we do before we bury or we cremate someone or we throw in the river like the people from India do? What we should do? We should donate our organs. Charity, charity, charity. That's the key word for Spiritism, right? Are you donators? You should be. You're not going to use anymore. It doesn't hurt. Someone else can be saved or live a few more years with your charity. And maybe this is going to change some other person's life, not just because you have given a few more years, but because the person starts to believe in other people. Say, well, they are good people. I mean, someone gave this to me so I can live. You can donate to a person or to a research. Doesn't matter much. Do you donate blood? You should. You could. Some people cannot, but most of us can donate blood. It doesn't take much time. It doesn't hurt so much. And you do save many lives. You help a lot of people. You feel so good when you do it. But again, it's a personal decision. When you die, you will only take whatever you have given. What a beautiful phrase from this guy that's impossible to mention his name, Persian poet. Cemetery, candles and flowers. It's very important that we put some candles for the person to illuminate his or her way to heaven. Is that correct? Is it necessary? No, not necessary. We don't. It depends. It does depend, it does depend. Because if the person who died believes that's necessary, go for it, right? Do it. Oh, he or she believes that should have a seventh-day mass. Go on. Give a seventh. There is no problem at all. But we have to understand that this is not key. It is not for us, right? Because the Spirit sees with different eyes, doesn't need light to see anything, right? And flowers. Flowers are so fantastic, so beautiful. Put it on your house. Decorate your house, right? Go to the cemetery. Cemetery is not the best place to be. Why? Because many spirits that are there are fairly confused yet. They don't really understand they have passed away, they died. And so if you have to go on. You have to clean the place, you have to do something, zero problem. But you don't have to go there to connect it to the person who has died. You connect to your brains, to your prayers, to your feelings, to your thoughts. That's more important than candles and flowers. Have you heard about this? I don't know if they say this in English as well, but in Portuguese they do say, from a grande perda, it was great loss. Do they say that in English as well? Every time when an actor or actress die, or a writer, or sometimes a politician, whoever, it was a great loss for the theater, or for the musical world. Was it a great loss? If the person was a good person, if he did well while living here, it was a great gain, not a great loss. It's just natural that you go away after a while. So it's not a great loss. Let's see the positive side of it. The time you were with that person, how good this was a great gain. So don't say, he lost his child. Say, his child died. Period. Né? The sorrow of having lost does not exceed the joy of having had. St. Augustine. Olha que espetacular. Né? These guys are brilliant. Which is the right time to die? I should not have said this depends. I should say at the very end of the presentation. It does depend. Depends what you need to do. The right time to die is the amount of time you need to live, period. You might say 12 years, it might be 27 years, it might be 48, whatever. It's the time you need to be alive to do the things you should do. We keep worrying, and that's also so good. We keep worrying about living longer and not about living well. Living longer is not under our control, while living well is. Wow. Huh? We could do it. I mean, live well. Do not mind if you're going to live 100 years. It doesn't matter. Why do you want? And it's fairly common. You probably have heard that this is such a silly observation that makes you people say, no, I don't want to live much. As long as I'm well, I want to live. Only you, right? No one else. I mean, everyone wants to live well. No one wants to live when it's sick and old. But it's not on your hands. So live well while you're living. Work for that. Have you heard about this other silly observation? Oh, she was such a good person, she died. God is not fair. Have you heard about it? Eh? Plenty of people. Because we all know that only mean people die, right? Good people never die. No, it doesn't make any sense. It's the other way around. She died, she passed away because she was a good person, because she was already all right. She took care of herself, she did the best she could, so she's ready to go, she's free to go. She doesn't have to stay here suffering anymore. But what do you mean? Do we suffer here on earth? Do we? We do suffer. It's a tough life. You see injustice, you see people suffering, you suffer yourself on the relationships you have. Right? But that's the place we should be. We should be here. That's all right. We are here to learn. It's not easy. This is not vacation. It's said that Earth is either a school or a prison or a hospital for mentally ill people, right? Us. That's why we're here. So once you're free to go, it's good. Let's not complain about someone dying. Let's not feel sorry for someone who died. He or she is not suffering or lost something. It's just like if you're losing something if you leave. I can't understand that. Another word that you probably heard, oh, at least now he's resting. Have you heard about that? Is he or she resting after he or she dies? Now is the answer you should give me. Which is? It depends. It does depend. Depends on what? Depends on you. I mean, if you have a good life, probably not resting. You're never going to be resting, actually. You're going to be working a lot. That's maybe the bad part of the presentation. You're going to work after you die. But it's a different work. It's a much nicer work. It's a work that it's not a hustle. It's not really tough. You're going to work on yourself and on the good of others. You're going to work for the others as well. So that's excellent. You're going to be working all the time. You're never going to be resting forever. Maybe when people say, now he's resting, is the sense of he's not suffering anymore. Okay, in that sense, it's fine. Huh? As much as a well-spent day delivers a good sleeping night, a well-lived life provides a good death. Leonardo da Vinci, not a spiritist, as far as I know. After that very common question, do we meet our loved ones? Am I going to meet my mom? Am I going to meet my son, my wife? Are we? Are we not? It depends. Todas as respostas são, it depends. It depends on what? This person that you love might have already reincarnated. So you're not going to meet at that moment. You might meet on your dreams, when you're sleeping, etc. Then you might meet. You might have something else. Take my grandma, for example, Amalia. Right? She was a very nice person. She must be in this stage. She must be living here, for example. And when I go on, when I die, maybe I'll be living here, far away from her. I do not have access where she is. But she does have access where I am. Why is that? Because imagine a spirit that's not so well developed going on a very harmonic place. It's going to be a total disaster, right? It's like putting an elephant on a crystal store. It's going to break everything, make noisy, right? So these people, if they want, perhaps they can come. We cannot go. So it's not guaranteed you're going to meet everyone that died. But some people you will, for sure. Feeling sorry for one who died, we already mentioned it. Doesn't make any sense. Right? Again, I think maybe I didn't mention this here the other time I was speaking, maybe not. Imagine two people that are in jail, two prisoners, right? They both have a 10-year sentence. Let's say that this one started earlier, so he's already done with his sentence. He's free to go, he's released. And this one has 2 more years to go. They're very good pals, they live on the same cell for years. They love each other, they're really friendly to each other. This one is so happy, he's going to leave, fantastic, I'm going to leave, I'm going to see my family, I'm going to go to the best place, I'm going to go to the beach, everything, after 10 years. And this one says, no, don't go, don't leave me here, I want you here with me, it's not fair. No, that's exactly what happens when we try to hold someone that's about to die. He or she is ready to go. Release this person. Don't be you that says that you love this person, the one that's going to hold him here. And the person stays because he likes you, she likes you, and she's in a mixed feelings. She wants to go, she has to go, her body's not good anymore, but she feels like maybe I should stay because maybe he or she needs me. So release the person, talk to the person, even if it's on coma. The body's on coma, the spirit's not. The spirit's outside, many times hearing everything. Talk to the person, say, we love you, I love you so much, but maybe it's time for you to go. If it is, go on in peace, zero problem. We're going to miss you a lot, but we're going to deal with this situation. You're free to go. I know many cases like that. When the person says that, the spirit goes. Those who we love never die. They just live before us. Amado Nervo, Mexican poet. Are you afraid of people who died? Yes, no, yes. No, we're not afraid. Depends. Depends who that person is. Yeah, it depends on the person, right. Normally we're not afraid, mainly for spirits. For example, your mom dies. You say, no, I'm not afraid, but don't come to my room during the night, right? No? We say, no. Why are we afraid? You know this guy, right? Are you afraid of him? No. No. If you see him like that after he passed away, it's fine. You love, oh, how beautiful. But what if you see him like this? Then you don't want it. That's the thing. We see so many horror movies. Then we associate death with horror things. People that come to you walking in a weird way with hands like this, they're going to come to your jugular. It doesn't make any sense. Because of Hollywood again. So we think the things. If your mother died, it's just your mother, just like it was before. If your brother died, it's just your brother, nothing changed. The only thing that changes is the body stays. The rest is the same. If the person is a good person, will be a good person. If it's a mean person, will be a mean person. If it's a greedy person, will still be a greedy person. Then comes another thing. Do not ask someone who died from your family for favors. Oh, can you help me here? Because my boss is a really picky guy. Perhaps you can talk to God, have a chat with God, ask him to dismiss this, my boss, and then maybe I can be the boss. It doesn't work that way, right? Because the person who loved you does not have a direct contact with God. It's just like it was before. Nothing changed. It doesn't become a saint after dies. If you want to ask something, do ask for God, or for Jesus, or for your guardian angel. Those are prepared. And this person that loves you is an emotional attachment to you, which is not good, because it's going to come in favor of you. And you need someone who's detached from you to better evaluate the situation, right? It's just organisms that die, not life. Sorrow. There's two ways of, I don't know how to say in English, I want to say saudade here, but anyway, there's two ways of miss a person. It doesn't exist, right? That's why I had a difficult time to say so. Yeah, I know, but it's a pity because it means so much. But sorrow comes close to it. You can feel sour about the person. Oh, you left and my life is so tough. You couldn't live this time. It's not fair. God does not exist because you should be here. Life is so tough. The children, I have to deal with the children, just myself, etc. How do you think the person who died is going to feel? Okay? It's going to say, oh, it's your problem. I don't care anymore. I'm going. Is it? No. He or she likes you. He or she will feel sorry about you, will be with you, will try to help, and this will be a total disaster because he or she is not prepared to help. And he or she will start to believe that it was unfair, that God does not exist anymore, he should live for a few more years, blah, 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 blah. Don't do this. If you like the person, don't go that way. And there's the other way, the love way I'm calling, which is, oh, I miss you. I really wish you were here with me. But it was so good, wasn't it? Remember the time we used to go to the beach and the car broke and you got so pissed off, etc. The funny way of remember the person is excellent. You're really making a prayer to that person. Say, we love you, it was good. I miss you, it was okay. That's the other way to see it. Say it again. You're not allowed to cry, so you can hear all those who are crying. Wow, tough. Be responsible for yourself. See, for example, let's say you're a mother, and then one of your children died, but you have 3 other children. And you keep crying for that one that died. You're not crying for him or for her, you're crying for the death. And if you pay attention only to that one that died, you forget the others, and they need you, right? And your husband needs you, or your wife needs you, everyone else needs you. You have to work, you have to be productive in your work. Your boss needs you. So pay attention to the way you're doing. Do not cry so you can hear the other crying. How do you support the one who's about to die? How do you pray? Pray to him or to her, asking him or her, educating him or her. Go on. You can take care of your life. We're fine. We're going to be fine. Doesn't matter. Right? Look around you. There's people there to help you. Pay attention to it. Because sometimes the person is so dizzy, so pay attention to death that doesn't see the help which is around him or her. That phrase from Guimarães Rosa is beautiful as well. God gives us persons and things so we can learn about joy. Then it takes things and persons back to check if we are able to be happy by ourselves. That's the joy God wants us to have. We have to be happy by ourselves. It's tough, but it's possible. If you like yourself, if you understand life, you can be happy by yourself. You don't need anyone or anything. Homicide, abortion, euthanasia, fala? Como é que fala? Euthanasia? And suicide. Those are crimes. That's the way Spiritism sees. It doesn't matter if it's allowed. In this country, you're allowed abortion, right? Not euthanasia. Not euthanasia. No. It doesn't matter if it's allowed or not. Spiritism says, see, doesn't cry. Homicide, you're not allowed to take life of anyone. Only God is allowed to take life. Right? Abortion. What's the big problem with abortion? Imagine 3 people, right? One of them, in a reincarnation, say 200 years ago, 2 were partners in a business, and one of them took the money away, deu golpe, whatever. There is a big fight between them. They hate each other. And then maybe sometimes they say, well, let's come together as a family to try to recover our relationship. Or something else. Couple here, married, then a mistress, or how to say man mistress is? Mistress, huh? Lover. A lover comes in. Right? And this is a total disaster in the marriage, and the family is totally separated, and then people start to hate each other, and then maybe one of them commits suicide or kill the other one. Does this happen in real life? A lot. That's the history of mankind, right? Plenty. Or another case, slavery. A guy picks up the other one and makes a slave, which happened forever in history. If we were reincarnating, we're part of that history. We certainly did some things like that. Normal, right? So what happened? On the reincarnation, they tried to put together those 3 or 4. Father, mother, and son, or sons and daughters, whatever. Family. In order to try to resolve that situation. That's why it's so tough to live in a family. Right? That's why we have so much fight between us inside of the 4 walls of your house. After a lot of conversation, those 2 agree to receive the 3rd one, which is their enemy, as a child, as a son or as a daughter. And it's tough, because you have to convince people, say, no, I don't trust them, they are not trustable because they did this and that in the past. Blah, blah. Then after a lot of conversation, we convince them. Then, when there's pregnancy, what happened? You make abortion, you cut that connection. How do you think this spirit who was trusting this relationship again, how do you think he or she will react? Will be okay, say, fine, it's okay. No, you say, you see, I told you, they're not people to trust. They're bad people, they're mean people, blah, 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 blah. And then again, the fight starts even higher, even tougher. That's the biggest problem on abortion. Natural abortion, 0 problem. Sometimes there was never even a spirit connected to that egg. Right? But we know as a spiritist that once there is the connection between the sperm and the egg, already there is a spirit for that incarnation. So from the beginning, abortion can be a problem. Euthanasia, what we say is the following. Maybe those few months or few years or few days, the person needs to rethink his or her life and take good decisions. You're not allowed to cut that before the time. It's a very difficult situation because it's very expensive. It's very problematic for the family, taking care of you people. I know it's tough. I have that in my family, but you have to cope with that. What you can do, perhaps you cannot force a life that doesn't exist anymore, but you have to give the comfort to that person as much as possible for him or for her to die by itself, right? And last, suicide. Suicide is not a solution to anything. It's not a solution. You have a problem. You think your problem is the worst problem on earth, which is not. Everyone has problems. And then you kill yourself. The problem is not solved. It's just, you just make the problem bigger, yes. And we go by similarity. So we're going to be, in our minds, we're going to be in a place where a lot of suiciders are. Do you think that's a calm, harmonic, nice place to be? It's a total disaster. It's like if hell existed, that would be hell, right? So you don't want to live in that place. You're going to be recover from that earlier or sooner or later, but you don't want to be on that place. Remember that I said about dying, natural death, which is an old body that naturally, you go out naturally. What happens on suicide is this. The body is not old, the body is good, and you broke it, but there's plenty of energy yet here. It's not the time for you to leave. So it's not up to you. You're going to suffer that, you're going to feel that. Try to talk to people about suicide as well, mainly the youngsters. It's really important. We escape from death as many times as necessary, but we'll never get rid of life, says Chico Xavier. Perfect. Right? Life is still forever. Where do we go once we die? Where do we go? To heaven or to hell, right? Nah. Does heaven and hell exist, according to Spiritism? It does. On your head, on your mind, right? It doesn't exist, but on your mind it does. Right? We can make hell or heaven anytime, whatever, it's in your family, in your work, whatever you want to. Petrarch, see, not a Spiritist, he lived, I don't know when he lived, probably in the 300 years, in year 300 or so. For noble souls, death is the end of dark prison, but sadness it is for those who have placed all they care for into sludge. So, death can be, it depends. Death can be whatever it can be. It depends on you, what you do during your life. Coming to an end of the presentation, wake up. We should all wake up. It's time for us to react. It's passing the time already for us to take care of our own lives. Seneca again. Some are quite economical on keeping their patrimony, but they waste time to the only thing that really matters. They would justify greed, which is time, right? You should be really picky on your time. Use your time properly. And we know what's to use properly. Chico Xavier again. The most painful feeling for a spirit in the afterlife is the awareness of the time lost. Ooh, I should have done this, I should have done that. I should have gone to the Centro Spirit, I didn't go. I should have changed myself. I should have talked to my sister-in-law that I don't. Né? Plenty of things. I should have studied more. I should have been, whatever. And forget about the other person. It's you. It's not someone else. Free will and cause-effect. Very, very traditional views from Spiritism. Martin Luther King, what a phrase. We are not what we'd like to be. We're not what we're going to be. But thanks God, we're no longer what we used to be. What is this? This is Spiritism. It's perfect. I mean, it's going forward, right? We move forward, we change ourselves. And be happy if you change a tiny thing. It doesn't have to be much. Just one little thing. Ah, how good, I have changed something in my life. Feed yourself with that. Then you have a better life. What does it really matter? You know what matters. It matters, use the opportunity we're having here. Try to have the satisfaction of seeing your imperfections dying before you. Né? It's impossible probably at this stage to do all, but do part of it. If you do, I don't know, 98% is good enough. No, much less. So basically, it's a fascinating life, fascinating death, fascinating life, fascinating... life is fantastic. Is it tough? Maybe it is tough. Is it tougher for some people than for other people? Is it or is it not? It is. Why? Because God is unfair, of course. Is it? If God is unfair, it doesn't exist. Either God is fair or God doesn't exist. Either God is perfect or doesn't exist. So if some people have a tougher life, it's because they deserve the tougher life. If some people have a better life, it's because they deserve a better life. Why? Because they have acted on themselves in the previous incarnations. They have become better people. The way I see when they say, oh, espírito de luz, light, spirit, etc., I don't know if that's correct, but the way I see it is the following. We keep taking, imagine your body is all dirty with greasy or sticky things. You start taking it out. You take greed, you take ego, you take all these things that, passion, all the things that do not help us, take it away. Then you become lighter, 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 a spirit of light. That's the way I see it. So these people who are happier, who have an easier life, already did that. The others are younger spirits, or spirits that are kind of lazy, didn't want to do it. Fine, no problem, but don't complain about your life. It's just fair. A life without challenge is not worth to be lived, said this guy, Socrates. Life's tough, but that's the way it should be. Say thank you for having this tough life. Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? When you're in the middle of a crisis, it's really difficult to think about it and say, it's all right, it's good for me, but we should. That's something I never understood in Spiritism. When I started in Spiritism, people said, or I understood wrongly, they said, oh, it's good to suffer. I said, how can it be good to suffer? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I hate suffering, right? It's not good to suffer. You have your mind not to suffer. You have to help other people not to suffer. That's your main objective in life. But the things come to you to help you to develop your mind, to develop your way of being, to develop your moral. That's fine. I think that's the last one for Helen Keller. Life must be a daring adventure or nothing. Olha que espetáculo, né? I don't know if you know her, she's a blind and deaf person. She graduated. She's such a history. There's a movie about her. I have never seen. Yeah, should see it. Never saw it. But this for me is very meaningful. I think this is the last one. Yeah. This is the last talk. So all in all, basically, death is just a minor part of the thing. Much more important than death is the way we live, the way we do things, the way we take care of ourselves while we're here. And if we don't, no problem. We have another opportunity, another one. But it's on our interest to do it faster, to do it better while we're here. And again, for the 32nd time, it's not your husband, it's not your wife, it's not your children, it's not your boss, it's you. It's me. It's on my interest to develop myself as much as I can. Okay? Thank you.